Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth and warn them from me.
From an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, here we are, people. It's funny. The minute we go live on Periscope, it doesn't work. Anyway, hey everybody, I want to welcome you to today's edition of Bible News Radio. I am your sweet and lovable host. Yeah, I am. Stacy Lynn Harp. Glad that you guys are here. And thank you for sharing this out. Whether you're live here or you're on the replay, I really appreciate your support in all things that you do. Of course, today there's some breaking news from the Supreme Court. One of the guys is going to retire. Yay! Could this be the future? Could it be? Is it possible that Donald Trump, the President of America, will actually put in some Supreme Court judges that will overturn Roe versus Wade? That is the buzz. Trust me. Today, Planned Parenthood is freaking out, people. Yeah, they are. I love it. Just so you know, I really do love it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and share this out over on Facebook. Are we on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, just wasn't sure. And the rest of the hour, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the news, and we're going to, I'm going to share some interesting news with you. Yeah, I am. A lot about some homosexual stuff, you know, like Bradley Manning. We're going to talk about Bradley, also known as Chelsea to those who like to bow to the politically incorrect way of looking at things. Rah. Anyway, I had an interesting day today. I went to the doctor and I got this. Check that out. Can you see that? My arm, it's bruised. Yeah. Have you ever had surgery on your arm? Like, it's numb. My arm is numb. Anyway. Of course, I want to thank my husband, Randall Pandle Bareface, for, being my husband. It's numb. My arm is numb. Stop that.
Your arm is still numb?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
It's really weird. They were able to numb it, like, just around the area. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So, Bareface how's your day been?
Been busy and a little bit frustrating, but it's days like this that make us really appreciate the great days.
Yep. Now, somebody's giving us hearts on Periscope. I don't know who it is, though. But I want to thank you for it. Thank you and good night. Okay, I'm going to look over here. So, Oddvar is here. Hi, Oddvar. Melanie is here. And Dr. John is here. Angel Love is here. Jonathan is here. And I don't know who else is here. Because, you know what? I am frozen on Periscope. So if you're all here, go ahead and tap. That way I can see you. That would help. It looks like I'm also frozen on Facebook. I don't know why. It's probably because of our high-speed internet.
Could be. I mean, there are issues on an earlier broadcast because of
Yep.
frozen on Facebook.
All right. Thanks for the super hearts, Mel. All right. By the way, when did I get to cash those in? I don't even know.
Super hearts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we're going to go ahead and turn that down there. Hello, Mark. South Jersey. All right. Okay, well, I don't know about you, but my day's been super duper busy. I can't honestly believe it's like after 4 o'clock here. Yeah, I'm actually frozen on my iPhone. I don't know what it is with this iPhone. It does not like Periscope. It works with everything else but Periscope. So there could be an issue. I don't know. Maybe there couldn't be, but there is. Yeah, so I went to the doctor today, and how many of you have ever had an impromptu surgery? And what constitutes surgery? I guess, I did. So I went to the doctor, for some routine medical checkup stuff. And this bump has been like growing on my arm for years. And I went to this doctor a couple of years ago, and he took one of those things that you can freeze stuff on your body. You can just freeze stuff off, right? So he froze it. And next thing you know, it's down, right? This thing, whatever it was down. I know you care, right? You guys care about this, don't you? Anyway, long story short, so a couple years has passed, and so it grew back, and I'm like, what the heck, man? I don't know what this is, but it's very annoying. It's like having a bump on you, and you don't know why it's there. Anyway, so I told him, I said, hey, can you look at this again? So he looked at it. He's like, yeah, he said it's probably caused from when I was a child. I probably got too much sun or something. And I'm logging out of Periscope because it's just frozen. So hopefully I don't know. Do you want me to use your phone? Because it doesn't seem to matter if I'm connected or not. So I apologize. I'm not going to be able to look at your comments on that, but maybe I'll try it a little bit later. But anyway, so so he said, well, I could just take it out for you. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, no problem. I'll just go ahead and numb your arm, and then I'll use this burn thing, and I'll dig it out of your skin for you. And it will be bruised for a couple of weeks, but you'll be fine. So I was like, sure, what the heck? Of course, I haven't been billed for it yet, so I'm not sure if he's going to tack on a bill. Last time he did it, he didn't charge me anything. I'm secretly hoping that he charges me nothing for this too. But so anyway, I think that it is amazing. It turns out my doctor, which I didn't know, he is a retired ER doctor. So so it's working now on Periscope. I don't know why. I'll just keep but anyway, so yeah, so what's really weird, you guys, is like from here to here, like this whole thing, just right here on my arm. That's the only place my arm is numb. Everywhere else is fine. It is so weird. How many of you guys know how weird that is? I mean, literally, this is so weird. Anyway, I don't know. I'm a unique person, I think. But anyway, that was interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from the Bible in Philippians chapter 2. Let's open up God's Word and read the Bible, because there is a point to this, right? After all, this is Bible News Radio. The last 2 days we've had guests. I haven't had the opportunity to read the Bible like I usually do. So, Philippians chapter 2, beginning in verse 1. And I'm reading in the New American Standard. Hi, Marlene. Says here, if therefore there is any encouragement in Christ, if there is any consolation of love, if there is any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and compassion, make my joy complete by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that there so I can read it. But with humility of mind, let each of you regard one another as more important than himself. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, although he existed in the form of God, did not consider, or rather regard, equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a bondservant and being made in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Therefore, also God highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name which is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, of those who are in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. All right, and I'm just going to end it there because it gets into another topic here. But so I don't know about you guys, but the book of Philippians for me is a it's one of my, well, the whole Bible's my favorite, but the book of Philippians is a book I've studied a lot, and Paul, remember Paul was Saul, that was his name originally. And then he penned this when he was in jail in Philippi, right? And honestly, I think that it's interesting that so much of the ministry that Paul had when he was in jail was writing letters. Imagine this, if Paul had ever actually been sent to jail, would we have the letters today that comprise the Bible, a lot of it today? Probably not, right? But here's a guy who knew the law inside and out, and he met the risen Christ. He didn't know Yeshua while he was walking here on earth in bodily form. He met him as the risen Christ, as we know, on the road to Emmaus. And what's interesting is I'm reading,
Damascus?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Whatever.
Emmaus, Damascus, potato.
I've heard it both ways.
Anyway, hi Darren, I see you over there. So anyway, why do I read this? Because, it's interesting. There's a lot of controversy in the church today about social issues and how should Christians treat one another, right? How should we, quote, love the people who struggle with sin, right? Well, first of all, we got to come to the place where we actually admit that all of us do, right? I mean, you're a sinner, I'm a sinner. But we're saved by God's grace, right? Because he loves us, and we're converted into saints, right? We are saints, actually. If we're in Christ, you're a saint. It really bothers me, honestly, when people say, well, I'm a sinner saved by grace and blah, blah, blah. And then they completely neglect the fact that they're really a saint now, right? But, of course, we have this hierarchy in the church where, primarily in ecumenical churches, the Catholic Church does this a lot. Well, we are now going to, after this person dies, we're going to declare that they're a saint. Well, I'm sorry, but we're actually saints now. I am Saint Stacy. Yeah, I am. That's Saint Bareface over there. I'm sure he appreciates that. Anyway, so what does it say here about how we love one another? Well, it says here in verse 1 of chapter 2, if therefore there's any encouragement in Christ, if there's any consolation of love, if there's any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and compassion, make my joy complete, by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose. What's the one purpose? It's to be a servant, to do nothing from selfishness, right? Or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, let each of you regard one another as more important than himself. That is so not even done in most relationships. We don't do that, right? I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about my husband. And he's like, oh no, now what are you going to say to everybody? I'm going to tell you something. Randall really does live this out. He does. To me, he puts me, he probably doesn't think so. But you know what he did yesterday?
What did I do yesterday?
Actually, it wasn't yesterday. It was this morning. So we have this dog named Tuggy Bear who likes to eat crap, okay? Let's just say it that way.
Literally.
He does. He
Not
likes
junk food, but...
He likes to eat poop, okay? and this dog, bless his heart, I mean that in the snarky way, this dog actually likes to eat this stuff. Well, anyway, in the middle of the night, I'm woken up because I'm hearing some noise, and all of a sudden I'm smelling this foul smell. And what's Randall doing? Randall is cleaning up the barf that this dog barfed up, which was crap. Yeah. It was nasty. But you know what? He does that all the time. Randall is such a servant, and he really does. He really honors me. He puts me first most of the time, as you guys know, because you even watch the show. I'm the star. You know, he's just the kickback, the sidekick, rather.
Yeah, I kick back, too.
And
sometimes I don't even pay attention to what she's saying. I'm just like...
But how many in the church do that? Like, how many in the church actually look out for, you know, your own personal interests? Look, we're supposed to look out for our personal interests, but we also, you know, are supposed to look out for the interests of others. So what's the attitude we have to have? You know, it talks here about humility of mind, right? Which begins where? It begins in the mind. There you go, right there. But what's the attitude? It's the same attitude that Jesus had, who also, although he existed in the form of God, he didn't regard equality with God as the thing to be grasped. This whole passage here could take you a very long time to deeply, study this, and it is very, very powerful that in verse 8 here, and this is the part that really stood out to me, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Okay? So I'm just going to end it there by saying this. He became obedient. Now, the question I have is, what are you becoming obedient to in terms of your walk with the Lord? I mean, I know for me, there are certain things that the Lord's like going, okay, look, you need to try to do this. Like, for example, I'll just be honest. Like, one of my areas that I'm learning to be more obedient to God in is eating less carbs. Okay. Now that might sound stupid to some of you because you're like, whatever. But for me, my body does not like carbs. I love them. My body don't. And it's a war. It's really a war in my head. It's definitely a war in my head to go, okay, I got to make a choice here. Am I going to serve my flesh, which wants those, or am I going to serve my spirit and, be obedient to the Lord and to, eat the things that are going to honor my body, honor him through my body. Because if I'm not feeling well, guess what? I'm not going to be of good service to anybody. If I come behind this microphone, I'm like, and I don't know about you, but I can totally feel it when I'm tired. And it's definitely connected to my food. So, by the way, if you didn't listen to yesterday's show, you should go back and watch it and get Jody Summers' download at her website, healthkindness.com. All right. So the breaking news today was that Anthony Kennedy is retiring from the Supreme Court of the United States of America. First place, the Drudge Report was reporting this, and everybody and their grandmother is talking about it. But what will this ultimately mean, right? And this is all speculation. Because let's just be honest. Donald Trump could appoint a liberal judge. Or he could appoint a judge that's a rhino who's pretending to be a Republican and a conservative who will get on the court and then do exactly the opposite of what he was going to do. Okay? I mean, because man is wicked, and when you just think about the ego boost of getting on the Supreme Court of America. Okay, just saying. It's got to be like, whoa, look at me, I'm on the Supreme Court. It's the Supreme Court. And these people, they have made some really bad decisions, frankly, in America. Roe v. Wade was one of them. The marriage decision was also another bad one. But anyway, over here on CNBC, it says here, Anthony Kennedy retiring from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Associate Justice Anthony Kennedy will step down at the end of July. Yay! And it says here, the departure gives President Trump a second opportunity to fundamentally alter the nation's top court for decades. Senate Republicans plans to move quickly on appointing a successor as the two major parties fight for control of the Senate in November. And it says here that he is a crucial swing vote on the Supreme Court, and he's retiring in July, basically. And his departure could have massive effects on U.S. policy, particularly on abortion rights and gay rights nationwide. His announcement immediately raised questions about how long the court would stand by its earlier abortion rulings, including Roe v. Wade. In a statement, the Supreme Court said the 81-year-old Kennedy will step down effective July 31st. The judge called it the greatest honor and privilege to serve our nation in the federal judiciary for 43 years, in my opinion, way too long. 30 of those years in the Supreme Court. Kennedy wants to spend more time with his family, even though they were content with him staying on the court. He also sent a letter to Trump on Wednesday notifying the president of his decision. The court adjourned for the summer earlier in the day. By the way, one thing I learned listening to Janet Parshall for many, many years is that generally these decisions happen right now during the summer. They go, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hand down this decision and see ya. It's summertime. And then next thing you don't hear anything for months, right? So then over on Life News.com, News.com. They're reporting about this decision. Planned Parenthood panicked after Justice Anthony Kennedy retires. Quote, right to abortion is on the line. It says here, the abortion giant Planned Parenthood is panicking after U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement on Wednesday. A swing vote on the court. Kennedy sometimes sided with pro-life advocates by upholding limits on abortion, but he continually upheld Roe v. Wade and its allowance for basically unlimited abortions throughout pregnancy, I mean. His retirement means President Donald Trump will have the opportunity to appoint a second Supreme Court justice who could be a deciding vote in overturning Roe v. Wade and restoring rights for unborn babies in America. Yeah, that chokes me up, you know? It does, actually. I mean, think about it. Pretty much my whole life, this has been the law of the land. So to actually see that overturned, oh my gosh. Could that bring revival in America on some level? I don't know. Anyway, it says here, naturally, Planned Parenthood and the rest of the abortion industry are hysterical. The radical pro-abortion group NARAL also sent out an alarm on Twitter saying Kennedy's retirement will be devastating for abortion. Its president, Elise Hogue, warned that Roe v. Wade is in grave danger. Does anyone see the irony in that terminology? Roe v. Wade is in grave danger. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And it says here, the Center for Reproductive Rights ironically claimed the rights of all Americans now are at risk, ignoring that abortion destroys the rights of unborn Americans. Political commentators also noted that the significance of Kennedy's retirement and the abortion issue. CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin said abortion could become illegal in 20 states within the next 2 years if Trump picks a pro-life justice. Anyway, there's more to that, but you guys get the gist. And, you know, honestly, I just hope and pray that that whoever the Trump is being advised by the way, I would dare to say probably one of my friends, Dr. Charmaine Yost, who works in the administration, her husband, she actually used to be head of one of the biggest pro-life groups in America, and now she works for the Trump administration. So, Stephen, thanks for inviting followers, and welcome to some of the other ones that came in. Let's see, Ian, Flipper, Pastor Bob, thanks for coming in. Yeah, so could it be here that you watched the new Paul the Apostle, agree with you, it was nice. Yeah, that was kind of old, huh? But anyway, could it be that, you know, we need to pray that the Lord would give Donald Trump the wisdom and the discernment to pick people who are people of integrity, and then we have to pray on top of that the government, the people who are actually doing the voting and stuff, the rhinos, the Republican Party, okay, let me just say this, a lot of the Republican Party are rhinos, okay, they're wishy-washy, they're men without chests, a lot of them, okay, they're wimpy, right, because if they were really, really, really conservatives, most of them, we wouldn't have a lot of the garbage we already have here in America. So, we just have to pray that God would allow this to happen, because, I mean, think about it, could it be, honestly, wouldn't it be awesome to not have Roe v. Wade be the law of the land? I mean, think about it. Could it be? I mean, that would be awesome. Because you know what that would mean? That would mean more babies would live. And, you know, there would be more people to support the elderly. Like when you get super old. I mean, do you know that China, okay, let me tell you this, I'm going off on a tangent here, but are you aware that China, you know, they had this one-child policy for so many years, and what happened was China ended up killing off so many babies that they don't have people to support the old people now. So they're essentially reaping what they sowed. They reaped what they sowed. I just thought of something. You're going to go, what? Have you ever ripped a pair of pants? Have you ripped what you sewed? Sorry, that was bad. Did you get it? Ripped, so
Yeah,
anyway,
but
that was supposed to be funny. Hey,
normally you sew what you rip.
oh, there will be at least one more.
Unless you made the garment yourself, and then you could rip what you sewed.
Yeah.
Or unless, dude, like my family growing up, that where there's hand-me-downs, so you'd hem them up, and then, or even your own, your parents would buy trousers that were too long, and as you're growing, they'd rip out the hem and let it down, and so when you first got them, the hem would be.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
I didn't help out with that at all.
Thank you for joining me on my mini tangent,
Sure.
going from a very serious topic to something silly,
Yeah.
which is why people don't know whether or not to take me seriously or not. But the truth is, yes, you can. I dare you. All right, there's another story here that caught my eye, and this is one that we're going to get into some LGBT topics now, okay? First of all, let's look at the, quote, Chelsea Manning story. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to call Chelsea Manning because it's a man. This is Bradley Manning, who's pretending to be a girl, and he is not. And it drives me completely crazy because the political stupidness of the media, and I don't know, anyway, it's what is it with people? In fact, there's that other story, and we're not going to pull it up, but you guys might have seen the story of the human rights guy. I mean, the guy pretending to be a girl who was thrown out of a restaurant because of the issue that he wasn't really a girl and it wasn't on his license. But it's so sad. I mean, it's tragic. But anyway, so it says here on dailymail.uk, or as I refer to it, .uk. Sorry, my bad. Free trader Chelsea Manning. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to say Chelsea anymore. Free trader Bradley Manning loses his bid to run for Senate in Maryland. Yay! The people of Maryland are smart. What can I say? All right. Bradley Manning lost his bid for a Senate seat in Maryland on Tuesday. Senator Ben Cardin beat him, and 6 others to win the Democratic nomination. Popular and well-funded incumbent easily took victory in the crowded primary. You're from the UC, Ian? Okay, hi. My ancestors probably are. Don't hate me. Chelsea Manning Bradley Manning has lost his bid to run for the Senate in Maryland after being beaten to the Democratic nomination by Senator Ben Cardin. The popular, well-funded incumbent easily took victory in his bid for a 3rd Senate term on Tuesday. He beat out Manning, the convicted leaker of U.S. government secrets, and 6 other long-shot challengers in Tuesday's crowded primary, and will face Tony Campbell in the November general election. Following the loss, Manning took to Twitter to thank his followers for their donations and support. Honestly, anybody that was dumb enough to give money to this dude should have lost their money. Just saying. It is so sad. This guy is unethical, illegal. He's a traitor to America. He should be thrown out of America, in my opinion, right? He should. They should put him on some deserted island somewhere. As if he could legally run. I know, Gina, right? God, it drives me nuts. He also issued a lengthier statement saying his campaign had, quote, advanced an anti-authoritarian agenda and ideas he wanted to push into the mainstream and onto the ballot. And then he said he described his Senate bid as part of a growing political insurrection. Manning also disclosed that he had to step back from campaigning to prioritize his health. Really? Okay. I'm just going to say this. If you don't like it, that's too bad. Sorry. My bad. You cannot be a girl unless you have a period, darn it. You need hormones. You need ovaries. You need a uterus. You need to have a period in order to be a girl. Period. Okay? Now, anybody who's a man who's pretending to be a woman, just so you know, you have to have a period. You have to endure monthly bloating, heavy bleeding, chocolate cravings, swollen feet, ankles, breasts. You have to have breasts too, by the way. Just saying, that's womanhood. You have to have unruly hair. You got to do your nails. Well, for some of us don't. I play guitar. That's why I don't do my nails. But, and you have to wear high heels, really spiky ones, and do other stuff. Just so you know, if you're going to be a girl, you got to go full out. You can't just like have a male body, pretend, that you're actually a girl. Because you're not. You're not a girl, you bozo. You're a knucklehead. You're mentally ill, and you have to become, you're a man. Also called a red wave. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and you should have to suffer PMS symptoms and really, 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 really bad PMS in order to be in the girls' club. Just saying, people. All right.
You're so insensitive to sexual minorities.
Yeah, I am. I'm a horrible, rotten person. I admit it. Me and 98% of the population. Oh my gosh. I swear, it's the insanity of it all. These people are insane. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that like 100 years ago, 50 years ago, when somebody identified as the opposite gender, they were like, there's something wrong in your head here. You need to go somewhere. Women imitators. That's a good way of putting it. Well, they're not, though. They're not women imitators. There's nothing woman about them. By the way, did you guys see that?
Back in the day, they were called female impersonators.
Well,
it was an entertainment act, but.
Did you guys see that video of that guy with a cowboy hat? Oh, wait, I'm trying to find it because it was really funny. Oh, I should have had you pull this up. Oh, shoot. Wait, hold on a minute. I was at the doctor, so I didn't get to prep as much. I know, my bad. Really? Okay, you guys know who I'm talking about? The guy who wears a cowboy hat? Oh, wait, you know what? One of my other friends probably has it on her page.
I've got it here.
You got it?
I mean, if you want to.
Oh, you should just play. This is hilarious. Okay, so this guy with a cowboy hat, he's talking about men in onesies. No, it wasn't a onesie. It's a, what's it called?
Rompers.
Romper. Okay, now this guy gets it. Okay, go ahead. If you got it, you can play it.
All right, well, give me a moment here.
Okay, I'm going to try to find his name because I forgot it. But yeah, this guy's like a sensation on Facebook or wherever else he is.
Yeah, I got him on YouTube here.
Okay.
So I'll stand by. Let me.
How many? You guys put a 1 if you've seen this guy because he's hilarious.
All right, let me. All right, this should work.
All right, I love this guy.
Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee.
He's not Mike Huckabee.
What was that from?
Some commercial, apparently.
Oh, I don't know what from.
What in the hell is Madison Avenue trying to push on us now? A men's romper. Just say that word out loud a few times till it loses all meaning. Go on, say it. Romper. The words men and romper should never be used in conjunction with one another. Men don't romp. Men don't frolic. Men don't gallivant. Men don't cavort. Real men definitely don't stand around in a group of other men taking pictures of themselves wearing said rompers like a pajama party. What's next? Instead of a handshake, we're going to bring on the male curtsy. Let me ask you an honest question there, Freeball. If you're wearing a romper, how long does it take you to insert your man pond? What did you eat for breakfast? A little yogurt with some granola? And what's for dinner? A fresh garden chop and a creamy vinaigrette and a pink Zinfandel? What time's the view come on? I swear I'm going to throw up in my mouth before this is over with. People are going nuts over this thing. No pun intended right there. But I never knew how much the world needed one-piece casual wear for men. I can tell you this. I did not wake up this morning and think, I wonder if my wife owns something I can wear and be comfortable. It's real simple, folks. Would John Wayne or Clint Eastwood wear a romper? Well, would they?
No.
Punk. Then I'm not either. Look here. Jake Davis and Levi Strauss invented blue jeans in 1871, and if they were good enough for Jesus, George Washington, and Steve McQueen, then they are good enough for me. Can you imagine old Jebediah cutting down trees in the forest to build his rough-hewn log cabin on the frontier in his rompers? Hey, Jebediah, nice onesie, bro. You know what goes good with that? Thigh-highs and pigtails. You might as well take the man bun to the next level there, lady lovely locks. No man hunts and gathers in rompers, and that's what men are for. There, I said it. Hell, you can't even take a dump in rompers without doing Pilates in the stall, and that, my friends, is reason enough to just say no. Why do you care what we wear? You wear that stupid cowboy hat. Yep, and so did John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, and Jesus rode a donkey that had never been ridden, and that's about as cowboy as it gets. So I'm going to stick with it. I love y'all. God bless. Don't wear rompers.
I love that guy. How can you not love that? Okay? He's so hateful, though, right? He's such an intolerant bigot. What? No doubt it was some gay guy, homosexual guy, or maybe a transgender individual pretending to be a girl that actually designed the romper for these people to do.
Chad Prather is the video there.
Was that funny? I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, because, you know, he does it with such a smile on his face. And he's super cute, by the way. I should say that he looks good in that plaid thing, and he looks hot in a cowboy hat. I told Bareface that he should start wearing a cowboy hat. Yeah. Then he would be really sexy. Yeah, just so you know. All right, so the question then is, if you're a man, would you wear a romper? Because you know what I actually think of when I think of rompers? I actually think of romper room.
Romper, stomper, bomper, boo, or something like that?
Something like that. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. Let me get my mirror. I see myself.
Oh, we see you too.
Just kidding. Oh, that's funny. Okay, anyway. That was funny. What was that guy's name? Chad somebody?
Prather.
Chad Prather.
I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. Prather.
He probably doesn't care. He's a man.
Yeah, he can take it.
He can suck it up. All right, so let me... remind you guys that Bible News Radio is sponsored in part by Ariel Ministries, which is the wonderful Messianic Jewish ministry of Dr. Arnold G. Fruchtenbaum. That's right, people. Arnold,
and others.
And others, yes. Arnold, this month we are offering a free Bible study called The Present Work of the Messiah, which you can go download off our website, BibleNewsRadio.com/resources, I think is...
It's recommended -resources, but just find resources on the top menu.
Bareface is going to put it on the front page at some point when he gets time. He's really super busy. But you can get that free, the download. And then if you want to get any of the other resources, this month we're highlighting The Life of the Messiah from a Messianic Jewish Perspective, Volume 4, that book. And there's also the abridged version, which we have on the page, as well as a number of the Bible teachings from Model Balston, who is a rabbi, or retired rabbi, actually. He calls himself a Bible teacher. And all that. So you guys make sure that you're grounded in the Word. It's the most important thing. Yeah, we have a lot of fun here on Bible News Radio, but remember the name is Bible News Radio. My goal in life is to encourage you to get into God's Word. You know, you don't have to do it like 5 hours a day. You don't got to pray 15 hours a day, and just spend time with the Lord, get to know Him, hang out. Say, hey, I want to love you, God. Yeah, do you teach me something in your Word? And He will. He does. He does all the time. Also, if you want to be a pillar of our community, then you can donate, become a monthly donor to us. I'd really appreciate that. It would help us out a lot. And you can do that at the website as well. Just click the donation button there. And and also I want to remind you about LegalShield. This is my new side business, which I am absolutely loving. Really, I have to be honest, to my surprise. I don't know. It's just weird. It's I don't know. I have to explain. LegalShield is actually it's a great product. Actually a great service for very low cost. If you you wouldn't believe the number of people that I've talked to that have had identity theft issues. I was talking today to the nurse at my doctor's. She was telling me that she got her ID ripped off, her credit card breached and all that, and was without her funds for like a week. But the LegalShield service itself gives you access to an attorney. And anyway, do you have the commercial, the thingy? Can you get on my Facebook page and play the video that I posted on my page? Would that take too long to do?
Probably.
It would?
Yeah.
I can kill time until you do it. I
could bring up one of the videos.
Yeah, if you do the one that I posted today on my Stacy Lynn account, that particular video is some LegalShield members who are talking about how when they got ripped off by a mechanic who didn't do some work, how LegalShield actually helped them. How many of you have ever been suspicious of the mechanic or the dealership you go to get your car worked on if you happen to do that? You know, because unfortunately, there's so many unethical scoundrels out there that, of course, you're suspicious. Did they really do the work? Well, LegalShield can help if you ever have a situation like that. That's what this testimonial is about. That Bareface is trying to bring up.
Okay.
You find it?
Yeah, I thought it was going to play in the page, but no.
Yeah, no, it does. I think it pops out. Okay, go for it.
Stall a little bit longer.
Okay.
Just a little bit longer.
Meanwhile, I have to tell you that that if you are interested in information for how you can become a member of LegalShield and get identity theft protection, contact me because I really want you to get covered. I really do. It's not expensive at all, and it is something that will definitely benefit you. And I will tell you, there's a gazillion perks. There's like 400 places that they offer perks for. I just signed up a couple people this week, and they're all excited about the perks alone, where you can actually save more money on your perks that would actually pay for your actual membership. So check that out. Okay, you ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay. Go ahead and play that.
Okay.
LegalShield footage.
We've used the service probably over 100 times in the last 10 years. And we were actually in a situation where we were giving my wife's car away because when we got married, we had multiple vehicles. And so we were giving her mom a vehicle. So we took it to the shop, got it fixed, thought everything was done. We sent it to her via transport. She got up to Portland and found out when she took it to her mechanic that the things we said were done weren't actually done. So we actually called the mechanic back in California, and the mechanic swore he did everything. We called the law firm. The law firm not only got involved, they sent an investigator from the state of California to the mechanic's shop. He asked to see all of the records. We'll come to find out half the things that they said were done were never done. And that mechanic issued us a check for 50% of what we paid for it. And I just don't know how we would have gotten that accomplished without LegalShield, because it would have been our word against theirs. And who knew that I could have called a licensed investigator to actually go to that auto shop and investigate for me. So I love LegalShield for that.
There you go. There you go. That's very simple testimony, and there's a gazillion more I could show you because there's a lot. And I know Steven here in the chat room, he's got LegalShield. He could probably give a testimony or two, my guess is. I can tell you I used it to get some help with a couple of things. You know, and their motto is worry less, live more. So just think about that, okay? Because, you know, if you know you have access to an attorney that can help you, even Vicky, my friend Vicky, her and her husband have used it over 40 times in the last couple of years that they've used it, and it's crazy. How about when you get ripped up a hotel? I'm not, like, I don't understand the question. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure, like if you get ripped up at a hotel, or you have a bad hotel experience, yeah, probably. You know, anytime there is a customer service issue you have a problem with, you can call LegalShield and talk to them about it. And they'll give you counsel on it, right? They'll give you counsel. They'll tell you maybe they can write a letter on your behalf. You know, they ultimately go to bat for you. And if they can't do it in your provider law firm that they send it to you, then you'll get a discount, 25% discount on the attorney they refer you to if you choose to use them. So either way, you win. So, you know, in fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I don't think they're here in the show today, but But they were telling me that they recently paid out $1,300 to an attorney, you know, and if that was a provider attorney, that they could save 25%, that would have been over $300 savings they could have saved. That's a lot of money, especially for us. A lot of money. So I would love to set up a one-on-one with any of you who are interested, go through the presentation, show you the perks and the benefits, and actually, you know, let you know that, that you know, what you can do. Individual plans for LegalShield for a person and the ID Shield is like literally $34.90 a month. It's not expensive at all. For a family plan, it's a little bit more, like $5 or $10 more, but it covers more people. That's why it's more. So get in touch with me. All right, people. All right. Now, somebody left a comment here. Your hair is the female version of Donald Trump. Really? Sniper for life? If I only had his money. Well, thank you for the comment about my hair. I know you're jealous of it. You probably don't have any hair. You're probably a bald one. You're probably like, man, I wish I had hair. Look at her hair. It's so beautiful and gorgeous. I just wanted to attack it. Yeah, it is. All right. Anyway. Okay. So the other thing is, there's one other thing. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is a brand new movie that's coming out. And what's interesting is apparently there's some homosexual controversy in this movie. Okay. And why is that? I'll tell you why. There's actually an article. This is the last article I'm going to talk about over on VanityFair.com titled Mr. Rogers' Gay Black Friend Francis Clemens Wears Tiaras Now.
Bonsoir, Clement.
What you saw of Officer Clemens in Won't You Be My Neighbor is only a tiny part of his story. And of course, the reason they're bringing this up is because it's the former Homosexual Pride Month. All right, so it says here, Francois Clemens couldn't practice everything Mr. Rogers preached. True, Clemens became one of the first African Americans with a recurring role on a kids' TV series in 1968. That would be the year I was born, by the way, 50 years ago, when he joined Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. As Officer Clemens, the trained opera singer, charmed children and found refuge in the show's driving force, our friend Fred Rogers. But the whole civil rights movement was in full swing by 1968, by the way. Do you still have the video for the child one?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that one too. The LGBTQ liberation movement was still in its infancy. Clemens, a Birmingham, Alabama native, made a bold statement with Rogers in 1969 when the two of them shared a foot bath during an episode that aired at the height of desegregation. But at the same time, Clemens was asked to keep quiet about his identity as a gay man. Rogers requested that his co-star stay away from gay clubs, not because he was homophobic, says Clemens, but to avoid potentially alienating the program's conservative viewers. Viewers who have seen director Morgan Neville's heartening new documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, know that much. In the film, now playing in major markets and expanding into more theaters in July, Clemens speaks lovingly about Rogers alongside the late performer's closest family members and co-workers, but Clemens also acknowledges the sacrifices he had to make for the show, a point Clemens says has been scrutinized without proper historical context from media outlets since the movie's release. So the Grammy-winning tenor, who was briefly married to a woman decades ago, a union prompted partly by a suggestion from Rogers, has decided to tell his full story in a memoir called Diva Man, My Life and Song. The book will reflect the reality of living as a young gay person at a time when he had no role models or much sympathy for his plight, particularly from the Baptist church in which he was raised. I judge a lot by my memory, and it seems to be coming back like gangbusters, says the 73-year-old who officially retired in 2013 after 15 years as the Middlebury College's artist in residence and director of Martin Luther King's spiritual choir. Clemens continues to serve as a vocal and unofficial life coach for students whom he calls his cosmic children. He still lives in Middlebury, and like any good diva, houses his flashy jackets and dresses in a special closet he added to the 3-bedroom home he shares with his constant companion, a 9-year-old Tibetan terrier named Princess. He doesn't have a cat. He broke the stereotype. In a recent phone interview, Clemens reflected on his close relationship with Rogers, whom he calls his surrogate father, sneaking to the Stonewall Inn in the 1960s and how it feels to dress himself in African chieftain robes and shiny tiaras, after wearing a police uniform for 25 years on children's TV. the point of the story, what is it, people? What do you think it is? I know what it is. It's to show the oppression of homosexuals way back 50 years ago. And it's also to show how Mr. Rogers was really nice to this gay person, just so you know. And it also shows how Mr. Rogers was a bigot towards him because he wouldn't let him come out as homosexual on his show, but he did as a black person. That was the whole point of the foot bath. By the way, if you know anything about Fred Rogers, you know he was a pastor or a minister, and you also know that he was very, very particular with language, and he was really well known by his staff to actually be extremely careful with the language that he used with the children, because he knew that children could pick up on nuances of anything and actually believe certain things. There's actually a really interesting article that I read about that a couple days back, and I'm sure you could find it if you search for it. All right, last story. This story we're going to play the video for. Just let me know when you got it ready.
Anytime.
All right, go for it. Because the title of it, I'm trying to see the story I sent you. I actually shut the thing down. 10-year-old boy came out as gay before his death, officials says. Okay, that's the headline, but you got to see the story. So let's look at this, and then let's look at why it's being framed this way.
Why didn't we remove the child? And so we're really going through the file with a fine-tooth comb, trying to understand exactly what the reasoning was behind that.
In a sit-down interview, Bobby Cagle, director of LA County DCFS, says the investigation into the death of 10-year-old Anthony Avalos will look deeply at the agency's involvement and others.
Hopefully, if there are things that we can change, we will do that.
He confirmed to me DCFS received 13 calls from February of 2013 to April of 2016 and made 8 home visits. Some were duplicate calls about the same issue. Now, during those visits, he says they interviewed the parental figures, and Anthony was taken out of the home to be talked to alone.
And the last one came in 2016. So we've not had contact with him or his family, nor any reports since that point in time.
He tells me during the investigations, only once was Anthony removed from the home. After a 2013 confirmed investigation about sexual abuse, the boy's grandfather was removed from the apartment. And during April of 2014 to December of 2014, the family was under supervision with at least weekly visits from DCFS.
Well, you have to have a level of proof in order to get a court to give you an order of that type. Once you have a child recant, that somewhat compromises your ability to get those warrants.
He says their investigations did lead them to believe there was physical and emotional abuse, denial of food, general neglect, forced fights between children, even the child being forced to crouch for long periods as punishment. He says they were getting mental and physical treatment over the years. But as for Anthony's mom saying his death was because of an accidental fall, he says the story simply doesn't add up.
He had a severe head injury consisting of a brain bleed, plus bruises and abrasions all about his body. All that indicates to me that that's non-accidental.
And yet, they title it, 10-year-old boy came out as gay before he died. Was that really the focus of this story? That's my question to you. Was this really about him being gay? No. In fact, you know what really irks me about this whole story? Is that they go ahead and they highlight that part, which is alleged, by the way. I see zero proof that that was actually the case. What I see is that this boy was assaulted sexually by his grandfather, right? So if he did have same-sex attraction issues, duh. That's
when
where
he was 4 years old.
Right, and that's where it would have started, right? And why wasn't the grandfather thrown in jail? That's my question. Why wasn't that guy thrown in jail? Why? That's what I want to know. How come the grandfather's out? How come he was just removed from the home? That was it. How come he didn't go to jail? They talked about recanting or whatever. I understand that because, You know, any parent that makes their child recant any type of abuse, that parent should have their butt thrown in jail. Just so you know. My mom included, because she was one of them. But the other stuff, the trauma, brain bleed for this little boy, 10 years old. Hey, kids cannot defend themselves like adults can. And that kid was clearly abused. He was clearly being sexually assaulted. And honestly, the whole family, in my opinion, should go to jail. That's my opinion, for what it's worth. And it just irritates me that they use this poor little boy, even in his death, to try to get sympathy for the homosexual lobby, which has absolutely nothing to do with this story. Nothing. You know, in fact, if the writer of that article and the TV station that aired it was smart, they would be highlighting incidences of child sexual abuse man on boy, also known as man-boy love or pedophilia to those who actually know anything about the topic. It drives me crazy. And I feel really bad for the mom, you know, obviously, who lost her child, and the father, wherever the heck that guy was. Who knows? I don't know. But clearly that little boy was abused, and I hope that, I'm sure he's with God. I hope so. So, don't mean to depress you, but I don't know, Randall, what do you think? Because I just...
Yeah, the implication by the title... You know, that he came out as gay before he died, so obviously, you know, it's a homophobic.
Well, yeah, it was a crime that
a crime of homophobia, because, you know, they couldn't accept him being gay, and the fact that he was sexually abused when he was 4 years old and continued abuse. I mean, yeah, a sexual experience with his grandfather. The man, that wouldn't have anything to do with gender confusion. And he's on record saying, I like boys. Well, what 10-year-old boy doesn't? You know,
exactly.
Prepubescent and no doubt.
And there's no sexual connotation probably when this little boy said it.
Yeah, but, you know, in the environment that we live in, and probably somebody at school saying, oh, that means you're gay. If you like boys, then, and you're a boy, then... You're gay, you should celebrate that. And probably in the school where it was affirmed, he got attention, unlike at home where he was being abused and starved and whatnot. Of course he's going to embrace that identity.
Yeah. Anyway.
Tragic in multiple ways.
All right, tomorrow night is Thursday. Tomorrow night our show is going to be at 5 o'clock Central Time, so it's going to be an hour later. Because my guest is Rick Costa. Pastor Rick Costa is on tomorrow night. He gets off, I think, at 4:30 or something. Anyway, he can't come on at my time, so we're going to do an hour later. So don't freak out if you don't see us at 4 o'clock Central. We'll be here at 5 o'clock Central Time. All right, and Magnus, thanks for coming in. And, yeah, and your comments are appreciated, too. I appreciate it. Anyway, all you guys, thank you for coming in. I actually have a meeting I'm now actually late for. It's a webinar for LegalShield. I have to get on it. But you guys have a good evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow tomorrow night. Not any other day, just for tomorrow, because Rick will be on with us, and we're going to have a good discussion with him about issues of the day, the Lord, all that stuff, and all that. So don't forget to be bold, stand up, go with God, and pray for the Supreme Court and all that stuff here, okay? All right.